Get it.
Bring it home,
There
baby.
it is. What's up, Jay?
Not too much, man. What have you been up to this weekend?
That was a little hot for the intro, man.
I know.
Get it up. Bring it home, baby.
Bring it on home.
It's okay. We're excited tonight. We're having a good time tonight.
Yeah. This is gonna be a fun one.
Oh, I just got back from camping again.
Nice.
Been living in a camper this summer, babe.
Nothing wrong with that.
Come on now.
That's actually really cool.
We've got a guy that's a state rep for our county. That just reminded me how my brain works, and he calls everyone babe, female or male.
Wow.
And we're just waiting for him to get canceled.
Yeah,
we're doing it for 4 years, and we're like, that's not gonna last.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep doing it. I'll say, hey Joe, how's that legislation?
How old
going?
is he?
Like, all right, babe.
This guy
like 55. He's like, all right, babe.
Oh, like is this
Everyone.
guy like 80? I mean,
I
what?
don't
Like
know.
what's?
Joe Bellino.
All right, babe. Gotcha,
I'm like,
babe.
That guy's he's going down one of these days, but he's gonna keep doing it. He don't care.
I love it.
Oh man, but yeah, I did a little camping.
But
this
don't ever
weekend.
call me babe, whoever you
That's
are.
just don't call me.
And don't call me Shirley either.
Or
Oh.
that. Hey.
Uh-oh.
All right.
So that-
movie quote right there.
There you go.
Boom.
So that voice right there is our guest tonight, and he jumped in.
Yes, I love it. I
He
love that.
Could not wait for us to get through our stupid banner,
I know, right?
so we could then introduce him. He is. Oh geez, what
Go
is he?
ahead.
He's
You got it. You got
Reformed
it.
Funny Moments. Okay, first of all,
Yes.
you guys are gonna have to go check this out because it's a hilarious channel. It's picking up all kinds of steam. It's got hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of views across all of the. We'll say millions. You know,
Yeah.
it
Hundreds
touches
of millions.
hundreds of billions,
Billions of views.
of views.
I think this guy just took over the #1 spot from Lady Gaga.
That's right.
Oh wow,
Form.
It's Mr.
that's new. That's
Joshua-
really news to me, man.
It's Mr. Joshua Kuipers. How are you, sir?
Hey.
I'm doing phenomenal. How are you guys?
Uh-oh. The fake audience
That
went
wasn't fake.
went right over what he said. How are you, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for being here. We want to give you a few minutes to introduce yourself. Tell everyone what you're about, and give us a little info on this Reformed Funny Moments, if you
Yeah.
don't mind.
Yeah. So a little bit about myself. I graduated from Grove City College as a mechanical engineer. I currently work as a mechanical designer in the food industry, and I'm very involved in my church and what I do. And also I make reformed video content, and that makes people laugh, cry, and have goosebumps on my channel. So
Yeah,
I like it.
absolutely. Had all those emotions.
But hold on, back the train up here. What is it? You're a mechanical food engineer. Is that what you just said?
no, mechanical engineer by degree, but I work in the food industry. So
Okay.
yeah, the company that I work with, we help manufacture machines that help make dough-based products like cookies, pretzels, crackers, stuff
Oh.
like that.
Sweet.
So you probably heard of Kellogg's or
Sure.
PepsiCo, like stuff like those companies. Like, well, or
Yeah. You know, that's awesome. I actually have been watching a documentary on Hulu about how businesses got started, and I actually know how Kellogg's got started. Post got started. Post actually stole the Kellogg
Secret recipe.
secret recipe from Mr. Kellogg himself.
I think the
Ooh.
Kellogg
But,
thing was like religious or something to do
It
with
was new agey. It
was new agey,
seemed
right?
that
Yeah.
it was wild. But yeah, that's a really cool show if anybody wants to see the how businesses started in America.
we
But
live
that's
in-
really cool though, Josh. I love that.
and we live in Michigan, so we're
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
about 2 hours away. from
yeah,
the headquarters.
awesome. Where in Michigan?
We are.
We can't tell you.
Oh, okay.
Undisclosed. No, I'm
Well,
joking.
He does
Yeah,
look kind of shady.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know.
Well, I was born
No.
in Michigan,
Oh, where are
sweet.
you?
We're
Where at?
South
Grand Rapids.
Oh, nice. We're on the other side of the
GR.
state. We're right above Toledo.
We're Monroe
Uh,
County.
Yeah, Monroe. County.
Okay.
But I have friends that live in Ada, and we go up there and visit them all the time. We like Grand Rapids. It's a nice little
Mhm.
place.
Oh yeah.
Usually do a week in South Haven on the west side of the state there. But anyway,
Yeah.
everyone listening in Uzbekistan does not care.
No.
Yeah, aren't you guys the number one in Uzbekistan or something like
Yeah,
that?
That's right.
That's right.
All
You-
our friends
you-
over there.
Ukraine's close second. Come on.
That's
We just
right,
got the
man.
numbers today.
So great.
But yeah, we're going to get into a little bit more about the Reform Funny Moments, the YouTube channel, your production company that you run. But first, we want to do a little newsy news.
Yeah.
J Dog, you ready?
Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
News, the news, the newsy, newsy news, the news, the news, the newsy, newsy news, news. We got some news. Oh, yeah.
Well, I know what's going to start season 3.
Listen to him. Oh,
That's awesome.
all right, let's keep it light
All
tonight.
right.
What do we got?
Yeah. So first story. Well, let's go with Elvis Presley.
Okay.
Someone paid $72,500 for the weirdest piece of Elvis memorabilia ever. Do you guys know what it was?
Was it
Probably a
his
spit.
jumpsuit?
He had a spit. I could see somebody doing something like that.
I've heard that in like elementary school. Like someone said on eBay, they sold like quote unquote Elvis Presley's like spit for like thousands of dollars or something like that. So it
I
wouldn't
heard
surprise me.
about, Albert Einstein's breath in a jar or something.
Oh,
like that.
okay.
Somebody paid like 30 grand for it on eBay.
Someone got ripped off. That was definitely a fart. Someone put a fart in a jar
Just
and sold it. As Einstein's
I mean, you
breath.
remember the potato salad? It's like a great idea. Like, I need
Mm.
to. I wish I was that smart. But anyway, it is.
I'm thinking his
Elvis-
jumpsuit. His jumpsuit.
No.
No?
His jumpsuit sold a few years back for
Oh.
$1 million.
Good.
Oh wow.
But this time, it's a jar of hair from the
Ew,
king.
no.
$72,500.
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine? Like, what are you gonna do with it? Like, when you put it up on your mantle and you're like, that's actually.
But I'm
Elvis
also thinking
Presley
like it probably would decompose or something like that, right? I mean, it doesn't last. I don't know.
I don't know the science behind hair, but yeah, that kind of freaks me out a little bit.
So did the person who sell it, who got that money, just go, thank you.
I mean-
Thank you very much.
Yeah, he might have put it on his bald spot or something.
Oh, gross.
That's what I would have done.
Just glue it right to the bald spot. Just walk around.
right.
Yeah.
Or instead of the sprinkle stuff or whatever.
Why are
But,
you talking about being bald when we got 25-year-old?
I
on here now?
know.
Come
He's
on, Huz.
lucky.
Look at this
He's
young
lucky, man.
whippersnapper, full set of hair.
full set of hair? Well, you got
over
got
here
hair too,
over
man.
here doing the YouTubes and the social medias and
I
whatever
know,
those young
man.
kids are doing
I
nowadays.
know, right?
Gosh.
Making that money. And okay, so the second news story.
Okay.
Joe Biden's president.
Okay, take it easy. Bring it in. Bring it in. Calm down. Don't cry. Don't cry.
We're gonna die.
Oh, we're gonna die. you
Sorry.
said. Oh, but what's the real news story?
That was it.
Oh, that's
That-
oh,
that
okay.
was, that was the news.
Okay. Wait, I got one for you. And I
Okay,
promise we didn't have anything to do with this. And that's why we were laughing beforehand. Minnesota farmers hemp maze aims to educate about the crop. So he took marijuana and hemp and made like one of those walk-through mazes out of it.
See, it's things like this. Like what? Like where do people come up with this stuff? You know?
Oh, I did a 2-acre hemp maze. People were going through it, and there was people coming out complaining about the smell. It's like, what do you think's gonna happen when you go through a hemp maze?
Yeah,
A
exactly.
marijuana maze. Oh, but they were all giggling when they came out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. And they needed some. Hopefully, they had some munchies there too. Boom, boom.
Oh, they got like a little table at the end. You know?
I'm looking
Oh,
for a.
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
that,
Sorry.
that one's yours right there. That was a bad dad joke.
Oh man, I thought
Where's your
that was
Snoop
one.
Dog? Like seriously, where's your Snoop Dog like
Oh,
sound
right, we
effect?
got it in here somewhere.
I don't know. I can't find it. I got too many drops.
Yeah,
Got
right.
enough time. We got any more?
No, that was it. That's
That
it
was
for the
it.
newsy news.
Oh, that's a quick one. Cool.
Thank you for
Fine.
the newsy news.
All right, Joshua, let's get into it. So tell us all about Reformed Funny Moments, how it came about, what gave you the idea, and what's the feedback been?
Oh dear. So like really, it was just random, really, honestly. That's kind of what it really started. This YouTube channel is really old. We're talking that it existed since 2010. I've been making like videos for a very, very long time. And pretty much my YouTube channel's history is just, the history of me trying to become a better editor and trying to understand like how cinema works and also like doing various stuff. That's why there was like no direction until like last year. where it ranged from video essays on why Christian films are terrible to making a spoof movie of Batman versus Superman. Like, it was all over the map in regards. But eventually, like, it sort of kind of culminated to what it was about 2.5 years ago when I became reformed in my own thinking. That's a whole story in and of itself.
Nice.
Well, well, it's a whole story in and of itself. And like, I just began devouring everything I could get my hands on in regards to like Reformed theology. Began listening to so many speakers, teachers, preachers, Steve Lawson, R.C. Sproul, you name it, I listened to it. And there's one person I listened to a lot more, and that was Dr. James White. He's you know him. He's a director of Alpha Mega Ministries. He does Reformed apologetics. I love his debates and his consistency in Scripture. And I was listening to an old dividing line of his in which he played a section of Gail Whippinger. And I don't know if you heard of Gail Whippinger. Gail Whippinger is this King James fundamental Baptist crazy wacko who believed that the NIV Bible came from the sinking of the Titanic. And she explained for 5 minutes how the NIV Bible came from the sinking of the Titanic and how it's going to burn a lake of fire. So she went from the Titanic to the 6 slits caused by the iceberg, and the 6 slits represent the devil. And eventually she got to Led Zeppelin down the road, and she was like all over the map in regards to like what her train of logic. And I thought it was so nonsensical, I just had to animate it. So I animated her train of logic. You can still find it on YouTube. It's called, I think, the NIV Bible and the Sinking of the Titanic. And it was that video that's got me thinking about, is it to go that comedic direction, or like, is there possible to get more funny moments from these guys? And a couple months later, like, I get all my Reformed stuff through YouTube. I listen through YouTube. All the sermons and podcasts and all of that. But occasionally I would see like an isolated clip that someone has posted online of a funny moment of R.C. Sproul, or a funny moment from, you know, Vodi Bakum or Paul Washer. And I thought, well, what if I just started compiling some of those funny moments? And so I began compiling the clips from Q&As, and the more I began assimilating them, the funnier it just became. And so eventually around, I posted the first episode of Reform Funny Moments in August 2020. And it wasn't until I posted the second episode, that's when I began to notice it was gaining some traction. And each video was like growing to like 1,000 views, and some people were commenting, and I was like, okay, you know, people seem to like this. I might as well make a third one. And as soon as I made a third one, that's when my channel just blew up. Okay. It blew up. Like, I uploaded the third one. Next day, I went down to Texas to go see my brother, and then I opened up the YouTube app, and each video had about 15,000 views. And then the next day had 20,000 views, and the next day got 25,000 views. I was like, what is going on? And people were just like commenting, like saying, this is the funniest material I've ever seen. Like, don't you dare stop making this. And I kept getting new subscriber after new subscriber. And I'm just like kind of stunned at all of this, because I've been making videos for 10 years. And now all of a sudden, like, thousands of people are just suddenly watching my content on these channels. It's kind of insane, really, to just think about it. And so when I posted the 4th episode of Reformed Funny Moments, that's when I realized that this is my audience now, that my content is going to be geared towards Reformed Christians. And so I've been making, so far we're at episode 19 of Reform Funny Moments, and the channel is also expanding to make additional content that I just come up with, like motivational videos. Like, I've been making motivation videos for quite a while. Like, I made athletic compilations in college, and with like Christian themes. I went to a Christian college, so it was nice, like working Christian themes in that. But when I became Reformed, like, I began to notice that I wanted to make motivational videos that elevate who God is. I wanted to elevate the glory of God, the majesty of God, the sovereignty, the aseity, his beauty, his loveliness. Like, I want to exalt those things, because I don't want to look in myself and think that I can find the motivation, peace, and comfort to get through my day. Rather, I want to behold who God is. And so that's what I began doing is I'm making these motivational videos in a very cinematic and very powerful way. And that, mindset of just, not mindset, worldview of just focusing on who God is made these videos far more powerful, and just made, like, I guess the best way to sort of describe it is like seeing the comments makes them, like, people are telling me that these videos help them have a deep reverence for who God is far better. Make to see like that God is like holy, he is majestic, he is beautiful in all these ways. And I think that's my goal, because there seems to be a huge lack of reverence for God in churches today. Yeah. That God is holy, and he is just, and he needs to be, in a sense, feared and respected and worshiped for who he is. And so that's what I've been trying to do, and with those motivational videos, but also been expanding to other content like interviews, and I just had finished one with Jeff Durbin, and just making. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but it was also extremely challenging because he is so busy. I did not know when I was getting interviewed until the day before he was scheduled interviewed, and I had to rearrange my entire flight just to get him in. And I want to do more of that, and I want to interview more people in regards to that. And in fact, probably, I don't know when this podcast is going to land, or when this episode is going to land, but I am very close to finishing the next video, which is the best of Babylon Bee, which is taking the funniest moments of the Babylon Bee and, putting it up on YouTube to see. So yeah, that's kind of what my channel is. It's geared towards Reformed Christians. It's compilations, interviews, and just fun videos.
So yeah, that is all great. And I would say this, I think what you're doing when you said, oh, wow, 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, what's going on? What you're doing is you're putting in a labor of love, really. And the reason I think I picked up on like episode 8 or 9 is where I started following and watching. And what it was is I'd seen most of these clips over the, 15 years that I had been exploring Reformed theology. A lot of these guys, you start to feel like you know them personally, whether you've met them or not, just because you're consuming their content. You kind of know the inside jokes of each person. But then what you do is you take it and you like put all the best of it into a nice little anywhere from 4 to 8 minute video. And it's awesome because you're kind of getting the best of that kind of feeling of brothers joking around with each other, and you kind of know where they're coming from, and you're kind of in the, I don't want to say club, but you kind of understand what they're joking about. I think of the R.C. Sproul one when they're talking about, is there evil in the world or something? And he's holding his, Pittsburgh thing.
Right.
He says, you guys are, you know what I mean? And I go, most people, if you don't know that whole thing, you'd go, what? But for Christians and for the Reformed community, it's really cool to see that.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're fine, Josh. Go ahead.
I think I was going to piggyback off of that. I think that's what makes these videos so redemptive in their qualities, is because there's like 2 layers of redemptiveness to this. So the first one is that these are Reformed guys that we know, like we know and love their brothers and sisters in Christ. So we love them like deeply. And the second thing is that these clips are actually funny. So when you have these like 2 layers, it's like I make these videos and I watch them multiple times because it's just so I don't know why, I can't explain it. It's just so funny of how these guys kid around and all that.
Yeah. We've talked about it before on this podcast. I mean, when it comes to Reformed teaching, it is a lot of times very serious. This is very serious subject matter. I mean, we're talking about, holy and living God. So I mean, when you hear these guys have that dry sense of humor, that kind of almost like that Michael Scott from The Office type of humor, like you don't expect them to say these jokes or, kind of loosen up in those Q&As that you've highlighted in a lot of those videos that you have, Josh. It's just been really fun to watch, just these guys just kind of cut up and kind of come out of the scholarship or the whatever. I mean, this high level, highly educated people, you know,
theologians with
it's like,
PhDs, and they know how to be like human. They talk
yeah.
like us.
Right. And it's like, you know, I mean, like they are human, and it's like, you know, like I've said before, we do stand on the shoulders of giants, and you know, but it's like, yeah, it's just awesome to see them kind of, I don't know, come down to my level. Maybe not poopy jokes, but
Yeah, and it's not like slapstick humor like
Right,
sometimes, but it's actually really smart, witty dialogue, and that's actually what makes it kind of challenging in the editing process. It takes forever.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how long does it take?
So the difficult part, well, first off, I listen to every single Q&A in its entirety. So that every single Q&A, every single sermon, I listen to its entirety. So I can get every juice and bit I can get out of it. And then I'll go save it off a playlist, then download it. And then I'll go through it again to get out those funny moments. And the hardest part in making these is not finding the funny moments, it's putting them together. Because there's actually a logical sequence that you have to put together and figure out. And sometimes, and this happens most of the time, the jokes compound upon each other. So like they say something like 25 minutes ago, they have to make a reference to, so that way I can have to somehow weave it into the joke and punchline that happens like 25 minutes later. So that's what makes it like really challenging in a lot of different ways. So
yeah, it's really crazy. People don't understand, or some people don't understand, like when you're editing, it's such a long process, because not only are you having to watch the minimum of the entirety of whatever it is you're editing, but then you're watching it multiple times over and over. You're pulling back references from, like you said, 25 minutes ago. I mean, that's why I said the labor that you put into that. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so popular on YouTube, because it's like, I can just go there and get a quick hit, and I can go boom, 4 or 5 minutes. I'm uplifted.
Right.
I've laughed. Yep. I remember that from 12 years ago, that Q&A. I'll never know where to find it. I can't remember where it was at.
I provide the links in description so people can look at it.
There you go. And it's just, it is really wonderful what you're doing. And I appreciate you doing it. And I've always said, I've never met a Reformed guy with a bad sense of humor. There's some that are funnier than others, but we're thought of as so stoic and so serious all the time. And hey, and you know, God hates sin. And it's like, yeah, of course he does.
Right.
I'm not saying he doesn't, right?
But we have the newsy news section on our show.
Right,
you
to
know,
balance it
like,
out.
yeah.
To balance it out, yeah. Are you calling that a sin?
No. I'm saying just, we like to have fun.
Oh, right.
You know, like you know, like it's a fun thing. And to see Tom Askell's
reaction to that. Oh
reaction.
Man. I was scrolling through Instagram, and I listened to that. I'm like, oh man, this will be a great intro.
That's great.
Yeah.
So awesome.
So I have a friend who he's just got into Paul Washer. Okay. And he goes, and then he's coming down to G3 with us. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And I said, have you, and he goes, man, Paul Washer, he's like, cause he's coming out of like, you know, like Assemblies of God, or kind of like, you know, charismatic. And he's like, I listen to Paul Washer and I don't even know if I'm a Christian. It would like make me cry. Right. And I'm like, no, that's everyone. And I go, you want to see the lighter side of Reformed, guys? So I sent him your page, and he subscribed to it. And he's like, this is unbelievable. I didn't know, you know, these guys, because he's also been listening to James White. I didn't know he had a funny side. It's like, well, yeah, they're human, like Jason was saying.
Those thug life moments with James White, like Dr. White, man. Oh my gosh.
I think that's one of the comments that I actually receive, is sometimes I'll occasionally see a comment where they said, I just was on this one other channel and I saw some non-reformed people just bickering how non-reformed people are not funny, and I just sent a link to these videos. Like, what you're saying is really true, that people have been sending clips like, you know, these reformed guys were actually funny. We actually have a sense of humor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, let's shift gears here a little bit.
Yeah,
we're talking about funny tonight. We got the funny guy with us, or at least the guy who edits the funny stuff.
Oh dear.
He seems pretty funny. We want to talk comedy movies real quick. We're going to shift gears, and we're going to say, so if you're a believer, or you're a reformed guy or gal out there, like, what is your kind of secret go-to funny movie that you're like, you want to know what? I do need to watch it just because there's some good stuff in there that makes me laugh. Like, and now there might be a little bit of a generational difference here.
Yeah.
We got about 15 years on old Joshua here.
Right.
But let's start with him. Let's start with him and say, okay, what you know, obviously you have a bent towards comedy if you're doing stuff with comedy. So for you, what's a go-to comedy movie that you like or enjoy?
You know, the funny thing is, I actually don't watch a whole lot of comedy movies. I actually watch a lot of like historical documentaries and like historical movies. But I do have a couple that I do like a lot. Like one of them is Top Secret. It's I forget who makes it, but it's the same guys that did The Naked Gun.
Okay. Okay.
So it's actually considered to be best his best uh his best movie, but it didn't receive like very well in the box office.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I like movies that are smart, that actually make you think about the joke rather than like, slapstick.
Right.
You know, like here, well, haha, look at this. He's flailing around. Like, no, that's not funny. But if you actually have like a setup and payoff, that's usually a lot more funny. I also like
Absolutely.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's actually a good one. And
I don't think I've seen that. Have you
his
seen
I
brothers
want to
as
say I
well.
saw that, yeah, with Aubrey.
Okay.
Is that Fantastic Mr. Fox? It's a cartoon, right?
It's an animated. Well,
Like
I don't know. It's like an animated claymation or something like
Gotcha.
that.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. But
Okay.
I also like the Blues Brothers. I think that's a good movie.
Yep.
Nice.
And so I don't know if this one counts, but it's called The Martian. The Martian
Oh, yeah,
with
Matt Damon.
with Matt Damon. And the reason why I include that in my list is because it was awarded Best Globe for comedy.
It
Really?
was
It was.
The Martian.
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know.
That's wild. It's where
It's-
he
It's where
went
Matt
to
Damon.
Mars, right? Is that
Yeah.
what it was? Yeah.
So wait, why did they include that in comedy? I thought that was
I have no idea, but it is a funny movie.
Yeah.
It is. He
Yeah.
makes a bunch of jokes in that. Like, so yeah, I guess
Those are all good ones.
Yeah.
Those aren't like your run of the mill
Right.
that you would normally. I like it.
Right.
How about you, Jason? Do you have like a go-to? You don't have to give
Man,
three.
I mean, I'm
Josh is an overperformer. here.
right.
We
Right.
gave us
No,
three
it's
of
all
them,
right,
but-
man. You know what? I mean, when it comes to funny movies, I like to go as stupid as possible.
Stupid. Like, shut my brain down.
yeah. I mean,
Oh dear.
I mean, some Will Ferrell movies obviously.
Does
go a little far.
Godzilla count?
Yeah, right.
Does Godzilla and King Kong count? It's
Dude,
such
I
a
cried
dumb
at
movie.
the end of Godzilla. But,
no, the Godzilla and King Kong like mashup.
Oh yeah, yeah, right.
So
That is a
dumb.
comedy. That is a comedy. But yeah, I mean, Will Ferrell, and then Jim Carrey, Dumb and Dumber. I mean, it's, when it comes to comedy movies anyway. But whenever it gets too crass, of course, I'm out usually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's always fun to just shut the old brain down and watch Wayne's World.
So two of the ones that I just kind of go to, or I'll go back and rewatch maybe once every couple of years, is I think I figured out why I like them. One was real popular, one wasn't so popular, but I think it's because they relate to kind of phases that I were in my life. So when I was working retail for almost 10 years, and Office Space came out.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it was at the end of the 90s or something.
Mhm.
And it didn't really do that good at the box office. It had
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston in it, a couple other guys, I can't remember their
Mhm.
names. But it was so true to how office work
Yeah.
is. It's the same way when I hear people who are in serving or like on a wait staff
Yeah.
say that the show, which I've never seen it, the movie Waiting is so true. It's
Uh-huh.
like, so the guy who wrote that worked in an office. The guy who wrote Waiting was a waiter. Like you can make comedy about it because it's so real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that one's good. And then just being involved in political campaigns and being an elected official and all that, like Black Sheep, when that came out with Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
I remember I was younger and I got up in the middle of the night to go get a drink of water, and I just sat down, and it was like being reran on like TBS or whatever the heck. I don't know, back 20 years ago when cable.
TBS.
Yeah, when cable was
That's still
a
around.
thing.
I don't even know.
And I sat there watching it, and there's a scene in there where he's out door knocking.
Mm.
Now, if you've ever ran a campaign or worked on a campaign or tried to get elected, like, you door knock, you wear out shoes.
Yeah.
And he holds up this little thing. He goes, and there's this house way down a hill, and he goes, every vote counts,
Yeah.
because that's kind of, and he just falls down this hill for like, 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm crying laughing. I couldn't have been, I was like maybe 18 or 19 or something. I'm going, why is this so funny?
Yeah.
But it's because I had those type of situations where it's like you go through this farmer's field over a bridge, you step in like his cow manure just to deliver some stupid, like, hey, vote for me. I'm going to change the world. And so those are the kind of the two. And I think I do that because I don't know, they're relatable. And of course, all the, like you said, the Will Ferrell stuff is funny and stuff too.
You guys have you seen Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
I've never seen it all the way through. No, I haven't.
It's on all day long, right? On Groundhog Day every year, correct?
Is it
on TV? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, I've seen it.
So I
love Bill Murray. I mean, Bill Murray's hilarious.
So I've told Jason this and on the podcast, I was in this weird thing where we grew up in kind of a legalistic church when I was younger. So like I have this whole section of the 80s where it was like no rock music, no movies. Like I've never seen Goonies. I just watched Star Wars for the first time a few years ago. Nothing with fantasy, magic. Little Mermaid was out. She had cleavage.
Could you watch the Left Behind series?
Oh, heck no. Well, actually,
no.
That was later on, and then the church we were in just picked it up and loved it. And I just remember thinking, I don't know my eschatology that well, but I'm in youth group, and I'm going, this doesn't seem right.
Something going.
I don't know. No.
Yeah.
Oh man. Speaking of, let's segue into that. So we got any fun personal stories about church or youth group that we want to throw out there for the listeners that we wanted to cover? Did you have anything, Jay, or did you have anything, Joshua?
I had one that just happened a couple weeks ago.
Start us off. Let's go. And then we'll jump to Josh.
So, the Spirit just hit me. I started like crying like crazy anyway. And I was like snot crying. I was playing guitar in the worship band, right? So I unplugged my guitar. Well, I don't really remember to unplug my inner ears ever really, because I never used inner ears. I was a touring musician for years and years and years, and I only use a floor monitor. Like I never had to pull my inner ears out, right?
You wanted to be deaf is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up not unplugging my inner ears, and my inner ears are connected to a box. That box got pulled as I ran towards the backstage door to get a Kleenex. And that thing just fell over, slammed on the ground during the middle of like a really quiet, like, the worship pastor was like saying this really somber thing. Like, it's, like, it's like, boom. It was like a worship fail video. I don't know who makes those, but
they do.
I'm not sure if that's, I don't know if that was actually recorded or not, because it was the 9 a.m. service that happened in. But if you guys can get a hold of that footage, it's probably pretty funny.
Oh, now I'm gonna go find it. I'm gonna go find it. We're gonna post it. What are you talking about?
Go ahead and ask Rick, man.
He's
probably got it. Yeah.
Totally. But talk about keeping you humble, huh?
I know.
Awesome, Josh. What do you got for us?
Oh dear. Honestly, like I completely forget my youth group days, and I'm so old. So like I was very involved in my youth group, but I don't remember, like it probably maybe come to me like later, but I do have a story from when I worked at chapel staff at Grove City College.
Let's do it.
So I don't know did you guys go to I went to a Christian college where they had chapel service requirements. Yep. And so
I had that.
And I was worked on the chapel staff, which helped help out in the chapel events. And one of my duties and responsibilities was to read scripture or to pray before the main speaker that would speak. And I was assigned to prayer the night before, and I wrote out a marvelous, beautiful prayer. And the next morning, like just before I got up, Dr. Keelwater, the guy who was in charge of it, said to me, "Josh, you really we're running low on time. You need to cut your prayer short." And I was like, okay. So I walk up, and this is before thousands of people, right? So I walk up and I said, "Dear God, thank you. Amen." And I just walk right down.
With like no reference, everyone's listening.
Nope,
They're like,
nope.
what was that?
Because like the student body has like a repetition of like a prayer lasting for like 30 seconds or a minute, and there's like literally 5 seconds. Get up, go down, get out. I looked over at Dr. Kiwa and he said, "Perfect." There you go.
That's awesome.
Oh, well, I'm going to tell an embarrassing music one too, because you reminded me, Jason.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And this is one that taught me a lesson in humility. It really did. So I was at this church where the pastor kind of took me under his wing in my mid 20s, and we would go around and he would kind of like present me and a couple other people to like do a special song. It was a predominantly black church. So it's very, it was kind of tradition, right? Like you go around. So we go to this larger church near us here in Toledo. And there's probably, I don't know, 500 people in the audience. And I'm just grumbling the whole time. I didn't want to be there. My sister, who's 9 years younger than me, she was probably like 17 at the time. She was going to play guitar. I was going to play piano, do a special song, be done. I don't want to be there. I have a bad attitude. I'm just not having a good day. I'm sitting there next to my sister trying to make her laugh, making fun of people, just kind of saying stuff off the cuff. She's going, "Greg, stop, you know?" And I'm just one of those things. So we get up there, and I never start off well in F. And I don't know why I picked a song in F. It was, I think it was He Reigns by the Newsboys. And it started in F. I transposed it out of C to F for some reason. I don't know why. I get up there. I hit an F. She hits an F. She's fine. And I'm nowhere near in key. Nowhere near. 500 people staring at me. Me and her are white. It's predominantly black. They're looking at us like, all right, let's see what you got. Yeah. And I continue. I start singing off key for probably the first 3 minutes of the song. I can't get in key. Can't get in key, Jason. Can't. And it is like right. Yeah. And my sister is beside me, and I just see her stepping back like this. She's like,
I don't know him.
I'm out front. It's just me and a keyboard. She's beside me, and by the time I'm halfway through the song, I look around she's gone. Like she wanted to sink into the background. So now it's just me out there and a keyboard. Right? I get into the second verse, finally straighten it out. As we straighten it out, I get into key. I was using a delay on the keyboard too to try to give it more like of a string sound. It was just a whole debacle, right? I finally get into key. Now it's to the point to where I just sound average. I don't even sound good. I'm just back in key. This one lady stands up and she just goes, "Yes, my Lord." It just gives me like the slow clap, like, thank God this little punk got in key.
Oh man.
I immediately got off stage, went in the car and sulked. And the next day the Lord just dealt with me. And he was like, "You idiot." Yeah. Like bad attitude, making fun of people. He's like, "You want what? I'm in heaven and I do as I please." Yeah, right. You didn't get in key for the first 4.5 minutes of that 5-minute song. And my sister never lets me live it down to this day. Every time she sees me, she goes, "Hey, you want to go do He Reigns?"
Yeah,
You know?
Right. I'll have to ask her about that next time.
Oh, it's so embarrassing, dude. So humbling. There's such good musicians there too.
Right.
Like sometimes I would get, I actually, when you send me like reformed, like, funny, like moments that you had personally, like sometimes I'll get mean comments, on my YouTube channel. And you said you saw the 9th episode, right? So the 9th episode was Valentine's Day theme. And so in it, I took some like reformed puns, like, "Hey, baby, is your name Grace? Because you're irresistible." Like that, that type of humor. And a lot of people liked it. Some people didn't. And one of them said this. He said this,
We're going to read
quote,
comments. I love it.
Yeah.
Quote, "Give over with this rubbish cartoons and the cheesy one-liners. It's not funny. I used to love these videos, but you're scraping the bottom of the barrel now." Oh my gosh.
We're like, I better change my life. The guy commented.
Aren't those... Yeah, I mean, aren't those always really funny just to read though? Like somebody's behind a keyboard at their house and they're so angry about whatever you're doing,
take the time.
I'm gonna change this person's life by writing a page-long essay on why John Calvin and Augustine are heretics because they believe in infant baptism. Like that's actually happened.
Has anyone ever on YouTube comments or Facebook gone, "Oh, good point. You've changed my mind"?
Yeah.
Never happened in the history of social media. No, we get some of those comments too on our stuff, and it's crazy because we do stuff that we just find funny.
Yeah.
Like, we'll do little stuff like we did. I still don't know why I say this every time. We did a Latino Bill Johnson
Yeah.
where he's talking in a thick accent. For some reason, we just pictured him as Latino.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
like, yes, you know, Jason does it. I don't do it.
Yes.
And he was talking about the prophecy that Chris
Volatin, he said that Trump was going to be president,
and he's going, he did a little oopsie
yeah,
right?
well, yeah, we had, yeah.
And we laughed so hard when
Right.
we recorded it, and
Yeah.
like 82 people online were like, "Yeah, that's okay. Whatever.
Yeah, that's all
We're
right.
not really into it." We're like, "What the heck?"
But
man?
then even the Joel Osteen one, like I was just like, this is hilarious. Like we
Yeah, we
coming
can
up
do-
with different stuff, but yeah, but anyway.
For sure. Do what obviously do what you like.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing right now is working. I think, like I said, as we kind of bookend this here and finish up, I mean, the channel is blowing up. It's got great content. You also run a production company, right? So do you do anything besides the YouTube stuff?
Well, it's not a company is a very, you're being very nice when you say company. It's just,
It's
it's
called a
just, it's just me. It's just me like doing a production work behind. It's just me and my editing software and my crazy ideas that I have in mind. So, I do have like a good friend of mine, Dan. In fact, he helped me with like the Jeff Durbin interview. He helped me set up, get in contact with him and all that. So besides that, it's really just me.
Do you do
doing
freelance stuff?
Not really. I mean, occasionally people would ask me for favors or just help out. And I have done some freelance work. I actually filmed a wedding one time. And let me tell you, filming a wedding is extremely stressful.
Yeah.
It is really stressful. You're always trying to get the right angles. You don't want to screw up, or otherwise you're not going to get the right footage. But it's really a blessing to put it together, though, because you get to see, see their reaction and just like almost relive the moment that they experience and all of that. But besides that, occasionally people ask me for favors. Well, there was a person named, I forget his name. He was in charge of the digital media for One Passage Ministries, and he actually reached out to me and said he loved my Reformed like funny moments. Can you put together a highlight of Steve Lawson? And that's how that episode was put together. So I put together all the funny clips I had of Steve Lawson. I put it in a particular episode, and he put it on his digital media platform on Instagram and all that. So I occasionally do work or do favors, but other than that, like this is just a passionate hobby of mine that I do on the side, and it feels like a production company. It feels like I'm doing a lot.
That's a lot of work. Yeah,
it is. But it is so worth it. I love the feedback and the reactions that I get from people, and I just love making people laugh. That's the one thing I really enjoy making. So
Absolutely.
Awesome.
What do you got for him, Jay?
Yeah, man. No, thank you so much for your time, Josh. We really appreciate it.
Oh, did we? No, we're still there. Can you hear us?
We thought
yes.
You paused.
Yes. I'm just really still.
He was holding so still. I thought it froze again.
Yeah, right.
He's such
I
a
looked
good
over. I was
still
like,
guest.
uh-oh.
No, we do appreciate your time coming on. And why don't you throw out the links again for everyone listening, and where they can find you and come find your YouTube stuff.
So you can find me at Kuiper Belt Productions. It's Kuiper. If you forget, it's a constellation belt in our own solar system. So you can also find me on primarily on YouTube. That's where I post my content. But you also can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just type in Kuiper Belt 117. So you can find me in those social media platforms. So yeah.
All right, Joshua, thank you so much for coming on, and don't you worry, we will be reaching out to you for help.
Oh yeah.
Hey, how do you do this on YouTube? Right.
We need help.
But we do appreciate everyone who does listen, who does comment, who does share our videos on Instagram and Facebook, and jump on the YouTube channel and check us out. We're doing this for the glory of God. We do appreciate you guys telling a friend, leaving us comments, giving us constructive criticism, and we absolutely have fun doing this, I think.
Absolutely.
Right? Tonight was a little bit different of an episode. We wanted to do something a little different with Josh on, and I think we accomplished that.
Yeah. And make sure you guys go check out Josh's videos, man. They are really funny and really awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like he said, they're both funny, uplifting, and they're giving glory to God, which
Absolutely.
is what we aim to do here. And we know you're
Yep.
definitely doing it on your YouTube channel. Josh, thanks so much for coming on tonight and laughing with us and having a little fun. As always, God bless. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Dead Men Walking Podcast for full video podcast episodes and clips, or email us at deadmenwalkingpodcast@gmail.com.
None you biff.